All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Urban Spokesman. My name is Chris Sanders, and today I want to talk about congestion pricing, and I also want to talk about New York City Council. So let's get on with it. All right. So, what we have here for uh, congestion pricing, blah, blah, New Jersey's governor has asked Trump to move swiftly, trying to get rid of congestion pricing. He is a very car centric governor, and he's very unpopular in his state, despite, being a car centric governor. So that means he's probably bad at governing. That happens. And Yeah, so what we have here, he wrote a letter to the president saying the surcharge for New Jersey drivers is disastrous for them. Um, Except, to be honest, the low traffic is great, and a lot of people who are paying the $9 like it that way because for most people their time is worth more than $9 an hour, or $9 a day. So they'd rather have their life back. They're getting their life back for just $9, and New York City residents are getting their life back as well by people who don't want to pay or don't need to pay. They have the subway and other options for them. And with Governor Hochul having the police there to protect the subway and secure the subway, this is going to be crucial, and this is going to be good. We have to secure public transportation no matter what people tell you. Like they say, oh, we can do self-policing. Yeah, well, that doesn't really work. Hell, it's hard enough to we've seen how self-policing goes. Like, look at the NYPD, they self-police. Doesn't work out so well. um so yeah, this is a New York Times article here from yesterday, you know, where, yet another politician is like cucking themselves to Trump to get something they need, or they think they need. They actually don't need it. I think it's actually in the benefit of everybody that one, New Jersey drivers can get their time back, and New Yorkers can breathe fresh air when they go to work in the congestion zone or live in the congestion zone, the congestion relief zone. So yeah, there we go. And then the next thing, city council, allegedly they had elected the most progressive slate of city council members ever in New York's history. I mean, they're certainly diverse, but progressive, they are not uh, progressive in the way that I'd like to see them be progressive, like progressive on affordable housing, progressive on urbanism, progressive on transportation. Um, yeah, those are the things that I'd like to see them be progressive on. On crime, they're progressive, but and on immigration they're progressive, but it hasn't benefited New Yorkers the way many would expect. Hence, the Trump gains or whatever. But back to uh, city council progressives. Yeah. So what they're doing right now, so basically this Streets blog article uh, uh, goes over like some of the legislation they passed. So intro 103 and 104, and now they're entertaining intro 606. So intro 606 is a law that would require New York City's Department of Transportation to create an e-bike license program. um yeah, so I mean, I don't even like the amount of bureaucracy that they are adding here. Before doing something like this, I think they should actually evaluate the financial impact of intro 606, because I could see that being a whole mess. A whole mess. Like a total and complete disaster, an unnecessary error. Like crazy. Like I'm shocked they're even entertaining that. And I wonder, are they talking about the financial implications of Intro 606? Like, and then it's not going to work. It's not going to work at all. Like, people who, the goal, so this bill was proposed by Bob Holden, who was representing the E-Vehicle Safety Alliance or something like that, E-Bike Safety Alliance. Well, they're not really. E-Bike Safety Alliance is just trying to be anti-cyclists. They're not actually trying to create safety for cyclists and pedestrians and cars. And so they're just an anti-bike group because on any slightly related bike issue or pedestrianization, they are 100% against it no matter what. And so, totally unserious group the e-bike safety alliance is. So, um, so they put forth this legislation for e-bike licenses, and what the city council members don't understand or they're haven't considered fully is the amount of money that this program is going to cost and how it's going, if it's going to work at all, which I can guarantee you 100% it's not going to work. The city and the state of New York already has trouble getting drivers to keep their license plates on their cars and maintain their driver's license and registration. And now you are having the Department of Transportation of New York City do it at a citywide level. And that is going to that's going to be an endless stream of money that it's going to cost. And then what's going to happen is the people who are riding their e-bikes, they're not going to have the license, or they're going to have the fake license, and they're not going to have and what if they have a driver's license instead? Like, I have a driver's license instead because I also drive, in addition to riding an e-bike and a regular bike and walking and taking public transportation. So I just don't. So what's going to happen is the people they're not going to get an e-bike license. That's just not, they're not going to do that. Um, like the law abiding people will do that, but the people breaking the law, the people that the law is targeted at, allegedly targeted at, they are not going to get a license. And taking picture of the people on their bikes with the license is not going to result in anything. Hell, you can just swap licenses with another bike. Like, it's just going to create a whole mess, and it's going to clog up the court system and create chaos for the New York City Police Department trying to police the streets. even it's going to create even more chaos for them than anyone could ever expect. I don't even know. I'm shocked that city council entertained it, but sometimes they entertain stuff just to kill it, just to make sure they kill it and kill it dead. So you never know. Like, but with, so-called progressives and so-called leftists, fake leftists is what I call them, because a lot of times they can be fake. So then there's intro bills 103 and 104, and so 103 and 104, so they ended up being watered down. So basically, these bills were designed to force the DOT to provide notification for when they remove parking. However, Intro 104, or excuse me, Intro 104 requires DOT to contact local firehouses before building bike lanes, even though the Fire Department of New York and Department of Transportation already coordinate on these proposals. So I don't know if they're actually helping there. Intro 103 forces DOT to notify lawmakers when it repurposes parking spots for car share, bike share, or bike parking. So, so, uh, so yeah. So that's so 104 and 103 passed. They were both watered down. The final version of 104 requires DOT to notify council members, not community boards. And the DOT won't have to issue notifications if the parking spots are being repurposed for bike lanes or curb extensions only when a single car length space is slated to become car share parking, a space for a bicycle corral requested by a local business, or for a dock for City Bike. A representative from City Council told Streets Blog that the less severe end result of Intro 104 and 103 should be seen as a win-win, but many advocates don't see it that way. I don't see it as a win-win, but I do see it as kind of it is sort of a win but I do see it as fake legislation almost, where they want to look like they're doing something, but they aren't really doing that much. And so, like, I feel like they went through the exercise, um, but then they didn't get that much out of it because the weight was too light. Um, I don't know. I just feel like the city had so many. I just thought they were bad bills to begin with, and watering them down, while that is a good thing, and probably, you know, pushes them out of the way for a while. Um, I do think, I do think that, I do think that it's still bad. Bad legislation is still bad legislation. So, yeah, it was watered down. Whatever, like these. So let me look at this again. The bills were watered down. The final version of 104, that was the one that required the DOT and the fire department uh, to when they're building bike lanes. Um, so uh, requires DOT to notify city council members and not community boards. Well, okay. So this article does not. So it doesn't. They're not saying anything about the about the fire department. Okay. I like that they're not requiring people to go to the community board, because community boards are uh, they're a very anti-democratic way to do things, and I view community boards as really more of a way for New York City politicians to avoid accountability more than it is to actually advise and consent. So, um, so yeah, that's what I would say about that. Oh, hi, Belle. Hi, Aspen. Sorry, puppies are here. All right, so yeah, um, so here, yeah, here these are. So two bills that they haven't talked about yet are Intro 1138, which would do universal daylighting of intersections all across New York. And the reason they want to do that is because when you're in the vehicle, you can't see. And People want to be able to see the pedestrians, and the pedestrians want to be able to see the cars and the bikes want to see the cars and the pedestrians. So remember, when you're in a car, it's a V, like so, like this. So when it's a V like this, you can't see the stuff over here. You can't see the stuff over here, especially if a car is blocking you right here. So, so what daylighting does is it frees up this extra space over here so that people can see each other, and not be surprised that, oh, a pedestrian stepping out into the street on the crosswalk, or surprised when a bike is going by in the bike lane. Um, so that's intro 38, the daylighting bill. It has like 19 co-sponsors. So that's great. And then so Vina Brooks Powers proposed intro 1105, which will require DOT to publish a tracker that updates the public on its compliance with the street master plan. Love that. Thank you, Sylvina. All right, honey. Slay. Yeah, we love to see that. I think that's great. Let's pass it. Yeah. So this is what, we've got to keep these politicians accountable. And yeah, um, we got to keep them accountable because, sometimes they lose their way, but we can stay on top of it. Make sure you call your council member in support of intro 1138, daylighting, and intro 1105, which will publish, which will require the New York City Department of Transportation to publish, uh, you know, its progress publicly so everybody can see the progress on the streets master plan. Yeah, let me know what you all think about these developments. I'm really curious as to what everyone thinks. And hopefully, you all are having a wonderful night. All right. Well, let's, yeah, have a good night. And remember one thing, if you remember one thing, micromobility provides the freedom that cars only promise. All right. Ciao, ciao.